All right, we are live. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a very special first episode of my new podcast, Bowfishing Talk. Um, I wanted to start out with something meaningful. So, what I got here today, I got John Laska, Vice President of the Bowfishing Association of America. How you doing today, John?
I'm pretty good. It's a little hot out, but I'm managing.
Oh yeah, it's getting hot down here in Texas too. So, for just people who aren't familiar with what you guys do, give me just a little overlay of what the Bowfishing Association of America is about, kind of what y'all do for everybody.
So a big part of what the BAA does, from where it started. So going back to where it started, it originated for tournaments and organizing tournaments, and then over the past 30 years, it's really just exploded into more of the BAA protecting everybody's rights on a national level, to help out uh, individual associations as well as individuals that might not have an association within their state. So that's kind of what we do. We do fish records. We kind of host our own deal as far as fish records throughout the whole entire nation. I deal with that personally. That used to be done by Pete. He did an exceptional job there. What else we do? We ensure a lot of different tournaments, we call it sanctioning. And basically, we have like a Bowfish of the Year where we're doing a whole point series where throughout the whole entire country, whoever decides to host a tournament and sanction and get insurance with us, all of those people that compete in that tournament get those points after all the results are done, and then they enter them, and then that actually goes into a little bit of a pot, so to speak, for their overall points for the whole entire year. So this year we just restructured things, made it a six tournament minimum or maximum, I should say, and so best six finishes. And then on top of that, you get to add your fish record points on top of that. So if you shot, let's say, five records, that's an extra 50 points. World record is 20 points. So they all accumulate over the year, and basically you put your tournament results in with the fish records all together, and then you have an overall Bowfisher of the Year. So we have that for youth, and we have that for the adult side. So a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of crazy. We just got done with World Championship. We had 152 teams. I think 107 came back to weigh in. I think they generated 57,000 and some odd pounds of fish, uh, with about 30-mile-an-hour winds. So that's pretty impressive. I just got back from there, and an incredible fishery with no wind barriers. Um, so, but the whole week leading up to it, just like any other tournament, really, uh, you had picture perfect weather, and then the night of the tournament, we got the wind, which knocked down, the average considerably. So I think a 24.5 pound average actually won it. Where if we didn't have that wind, it would end up probably would have been about a 42, 43 pound average for common carp. So
I can tell it was a pretty good tournament, at least because it seemed like a lot of teams that had a good basket. It wasn't a lot of just people that just didn't shoot anything. Everybody, it was pretty evenly matched up at the top.
yeah, what's surprising about the shoot, a lot of people haven't talked about it too much, but most of what you saw get brought into weigh-in was shot in the first 2 hours of the event. The wind went from mediocre, we can deal with this, it's annoying, to basically most of the field got off the water by midnight. It was that bad. I mean, some guys, they found little pockets where they could deal with the wind, got into some reeds, so they could at least see some calm water. But the rest of the field basically called it a night. So,
Yeah. Bow fishermen are probably some of the most diehard fishermen. So if they're calling it a
yeah,
night, it's got to be pretty bad.
yeah. I pushed it as hard as I could. It was time. So we got off the water, and it, it got real bad real quick right after that. I mean, we dealt with 5 foot waves. I know my wife was clinching onto the seat of the airboat pretty good,
Oh, you're a
um,
brave man bringing your
which
wife.
I don't blame her. I might have had to change my britches afterwards. I mean, it was crazy. It was, I've guided down to Louisiana, and Never had to experience those type of waves. It was, anywhere from 4 to 6 foot rollers, and then every 6 to 7 of them, they were breaking over. So it was just a very hairy situation. I'm glad everyone walked away, was able to come back to weigh in. We had 2 boats that lost boat plugs. One of them sank, but it didn't end up being from the overall waves, which is, I'm just grateful everyone, came back safe. We all get to live to shoot another day.
Yeah, there's always next year, and it's not worth safety on that. I did see something about somebody sunk a boat, so I am glad to hear that everybody made it back. I
Yes,
didn't get to count.
Dustin Moody used to be. A lot of people know the boat in the bow fishing communities. It used to be the old ramrod boat that went. It seemed like it was up for sale every single year, and then he finally switched to the paint scheme and turned it into an American flag looking boat. Cool little rig. It's a little 15. I think it's a 15 or 16 foot airboat. But yeah, and it just happened to be he hit a rock and kind of sat there, and it pulled the plug on him, and the boat went down about 10 feet from shore. So it really wasn't horrible, but kind of a sucky deal for him. So
yeah, those things got people don't know about airboats. Most of the time these airboats have plug holes, not like a standard boat. They're huge.
Yeah, they're 2-inch. They're 2-inch. Like my airboat, I got 2-inch drains on mine. So
I've never had my boat come out, but it came out in my previous boat. It only had a little tiny hole. It was a little, and even that it was filling up so fast. I can't imagine if one comes out on the airboat. It's
yeah. A lot of the times with the airboat builders that have been around quite a while, they used to make it like a slip tube with the plumber's type plug, where just like a normal regular John boat or whatever, where you just have the 1-inch hole. Well, these are for 2-inch, and that plug fits in from the outside. Well, what happens is you hit debris or anything like that in that back end, and sometimes they can pop that plug right out of there. Where a lot of the times nowadays, these guys are building the airboats with threaded plugs. So you're actually using NPT fitting, just a cap. So that way it would literally have to unthread to come out. So it's kind of a lot more safe.
That's smarter. Yeah. Mine is not that way, so I might want to look into that myself.
Yeah. So, but they're great when you wash out the boat. I mean, 4 inches worth of drain holes, get slime and all that stuff out quick.
1,000 fish in there, it gets pretty messy pretty quick.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well, so one of the main things I want to talk about today, because I think it's something that as bow fishermen we don't think about is our rights as bow fishermen. And it seems to me, from what I've seen, y'all are the only people that are out here. The thin line between us being able to do this and not being able to do this anymore. So, in your opinion, how are our rights in danger in certain areas of the country? And is there anything going on right now that maybe the bow fishing community should be aware of?
Yeah, we kind of came into a loaded gun right in our faces when the new board took over. It seemed like everything kind of hit all at once. We had several things come up across the country where there's ongoing stuff with sound and noise up in Wisconsin, Minnesota. Luckily, we got that one taken care of by the sounds of it with our senators here in Minnesota anyways. That was pertaining to making gar a legal game fish. And a lot of those guys that put that bill into effect obviously haven't been on the Mississippi River because you can see a couple hundred a night. There's no shortage of gar around here. There's always some talks about Texas with the gator gar and what they want to do there. Oklahoma had a big one. They had a whole bunch of different stuff come up. Luckily, they listened to a letter that I wrote with the help of the board, and we got that one pretty much nipped in the bud to not change any regulations too much in that state. See here, quite a bit of other stuff. Florida had a little bit of issues. Florida is a different type of state as far when it comes to bow fishing because they're constantly changing regulations with everything, not even pertaining to bow fishing, but it's ongoing. So it's hard to keep up on a lot of the stuff that goes on, but I know those bow fishermen down there. I talked to Shane Springer, Travis Linfar, Ryan Allen, all those guys that are bow fishing guides in Florida. Um, you know, every year it seems like they're more and more limited on what we can do. But overall, there's not a whole lot we can do with a lot of that stuff. But we definitely do what we can. Sometimes we don't hear about it until last minute. Something we're focused on this year is to make sure that we have more state reps that are active. So say, just for example, Ohio. I'm just nothing going on with Ohio right now.
Yeah.
But just using it as an example that Ohio, they come across some legislation where they want to shut down, and all of a sudden they want common carp to be a game fish. I'm just using it as an example. But when they introduce that, to have a state rep in that state to actually contact the board right away. So we even get the first little glimpse like, hey, they're going to try to put this bill in here. We can actually write a letter and talk to our other resources within that state to try to make a good case against it and tell people why this shouldn't happen. A lot of times, a lot of people go on fear. You know, there's been a Buffalo talk for a couple of years now after an article, and fear generates regulation without research. You know, BAA has always been about if there's research that has been proven to affect a certain species or something like that, we have that research and science says, hey, we need to do something about it, then we're okay with that because we're still conservationists. The biggest deal is that we don't want regulations being caused by fear and just brash decisions of this is how I'm feeling right here in the moment, when you might not know anything about it and you could actually do more harm than good in some of these circumstances. So, yeah. But otherwise, I think that's about it for right now. There's a little thing going on down in Louisiana right now with airboats, actually. But they're trying to keep it, before they come to the BAA, they're trying to work it out within their parish to not lose those rights. Because right now, supposedly you can't run an airboat from 9:30 at night to 4:30 in the morning. And that's throughout the whole entire parish.
Wow.
Just for airboats. So I think a lot of those people that are for that have never heard a dual mud motor rig go by their house in the middle of the night. So, yeah. So, but other than that, I mean, the BA, we're really trying to keep up on this stuff so that we can make a solid effort to stay ahead of things and make sure that, you know, if regulations go in place, are they needed, or is it just kind of obnoxious on a whim? You just have this personal thing with bow fishing, or you know, something like that. So, but we're doing what we can on that aspect. Things kind of settled down. The first couple months were pretty stressful with that type of stuff. You know, coming in as a fresh vice president. I was on the board before as marketing director, so I had the ins and outs of, you know, how the board worked and everything beforehand. But then for Alan's one of the founding fathers. When he was a teenager, he was able to. Well, I think he actually was in his early 20s. He was at the meeting where they established the BAA. So now him being president, he wanted to see some changes, and he's doing a great job. And we're just kind of, you know, doing what we can to listen to everybody and get people signed up as paying members. Because as of right now, we've doubled the bank account, and that's actually excluding a huge donation from Bass Pro and Oneida Eagle Bows, which we're so grateful for. So that's actually tripled the account as far as I know right now. So just in the past, well, we've been in office since, I believe, February. So we're definitely making strides for change and to try to, you know, get people to understand that, you know, we are doing something very positive, and that if they don't have a local association to go to, they can always rely on the BAA to at least hear them as members. and try to see what we can do to help them, whatever state it is, so because we all love to travel, we all love to go to different states and bowfish, and if we lost the right in a state, to go bowfish all together in a certain state, I mean, that would technically affect all of us bowfishermen that love to travel and, shoot tournaments and just go on vacation and shoot too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if somebody's interested in being a state rep or looking into it, how would they go about doing that? Just y'all have a website or?
Yep, we have a website, bowfishingassociation.com, and basically there is a certain link. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you go on there and it's a state rep form application. We actually brought Jody Bagolke on board this year. So if you can't find it on the website, Jody Bagolke is on Facebook. If you're interested in being a state rep for a certain state, we do have a map that I've updated as far as I can go, and we ran out of memory on the website to add the last couple names to our state rep list. But it's always a good idea if you are looking into it. My contact information's on there. Alan's is on there. Social media director, we need to get a hold of her. Serena as secretary. Depending on what you need, all of our information to contact us is on there, and normally we're very, very quick to reply. So it's been a little slower just because we had Worlds this last week and we were all very busy making sure that all the details are taken care of for that. But now we're kind of on a slowing down a little bit and getting back into a rhythm. So
That's good. So as far as funding goes, how are y'all funding this? You said something about donations, but is there a way through memberships, things like that, if somebody wants to help support BA?
yes, so we just passed at the spring annual. We have an annual spring meeting. Normally it's in March. This year I believe it was in Tennessee. Man, my days are running together.
Long week, I understand.
Oh, it has been, and a hot one to boot. So, but at that spring meeting, we voted to basically add a premium membership for $25. You get a decal, and you get 3 free fish records, and basically you get to help out the BAA a little bit. And that introduction was based just solely on the fact that there are some kids that really want to be a part of something, and give them a little bit of a discount break, or families, instead of paying a $50 platinum membership, they could add their kid for 25, if they don't want a shirt or whatnot. And then we also have that platinum membership, which is 50, where you get the brand new logo that we just came out with this year. It's got a whole bunch of fish on it with the BA logo. You get that, you get decals, you get free fish records, no matter how many you want, that I get to take care of. And then it's a lot of work. But it's fun. And part of that goes back to that Bowfish of the Year. So it's really a cool system. And all that money gets generated and goes right into the BAA bank account. So if we need to donate to somebody, or there's really any good cause within the bow fishing community that as a board we see that we could help them in any way we can, that's money that we can help do that. Also, by signing up, another thing that we got passed was 10 free youth sanctioning events. So normally our sanctioning for tournaments is $100, and we were able to open the door for people that maybe just don't have the money, but they really want to help out and they want to host a tournament for kids or for veterans, to be able to do that and have the $100 be less, so they can stick that money into advertising or generating more prizes for kids or veterans, of course, doing giveaway stuff at the event. So we got 10 for youth, and then we also got a pass for 10 free sanctioning for veterans. So that was kind of our start. We hate to limit it for those two things, to 10. But who knows, like if we left it unlimited, there can all of a sudden it springs up and there's 25, 30 of each event. And next thing you know, the BA account is very broke. So that was just a way to limit it and see how it goes. it's going okay right now, and I think we still have some spots available in both the youth and the veterans shoots to be able to have that sanctioning for free. You know, those two things meant a lot to Alan and I, both on the the youth side of things. That is our future, and to teach kids the right way and to be respectful on the water and everything like that. It kind of starts with us helping that generation and those youth um, know the right path to go and get them outdoors and active. And then on the other aspect, it's the veterans. I mean, that you're talking um, everybody. I'm talking medical personnel, all military veterans, police officers, EMTs. Doesn't matter if you have sacrificed and whatnot. We're gonna help you. That's what that sanctioning is for. To get all of those guys together, say thank you, and give them some type of fun event to go and shoot and just have fun. So.
That's beautiful. I love to hear that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
anybody who's ever been out bow fishing, they know that
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing else in the world you're thinking about. All you're focused on is zeroing in on that water,
Yep.
looking for those fish. You're not worried about life. You're not worried about your bills when you come home.
Yep.
It really is a beautiful thing.
It is. Yep. It helps them a lot. There's a lot of them now. Veteran shoots are starting to come around more and more, which is a great thing to see. And getting these guys active, I've guided quite a few, groups of veterans, and um, they all enjoy it. They take a certain amount of extra enjoyment out of it to not be in their heads and just be able to have fun and not think about anything else. So it's really nice to be a part of that. In any way we can give back, we try to do it 100%.
That's good. So I want to ask you a little bit more of a personal question. So we talked about obviously you guys are doing so much, you in particular. So why do you do it? Why do you want to put in all this effort? I know it ain't making you rich. You're not over here throwing Benjamins around. So
Yeah,
what?
the pay is great. It's free.
Yeah,
Um, the being a volunteer and putting all these hours in, and that goes for the rest of the board too. We enjoy it through and through to the point where we would love to be able to have everyone else experience that sometime in their life, and to be a part of something that can give that opportunity to people 10 to 20 years down the road and let them still have those rights to do this like we love so much. That's worth it to me. It's I used to run. I actually just had to cancel 2 of my tournaments here because I ran out of time. Um, but it's that type of stuff where we put what we want into it because we thoroughly enjoy it, and we like to see other people enjoy it as well. The memories made on the water is some of the greatest times that a great number of this nation has experienced, and in the bow fishing industry, we're kind of like a brotherhood. You'll hear that all the time. We're always willing to help one another, and any way we can. It doesn't matter if we're broke down on the side of the road or you know out there and just having a hard time fishing. We need a spot or general idea where we need to go. This is one industry that I would have to say is a more tight knit community than anything else I've been a part of in my entire life. I mean, it's unreal the amount of great people that are in the bow fishing industry, and I'm just happy to be a part of it and kind of pay it forward. This bow fishing community has given a lot to me, and the hobby itself has given so much to me. And so many memories and good times that I want other people to be able to experience that too. So,
I guess that's cool.
yeah.
A lot of people look at bow fishing, and on the outside, when you don't know a lot about it, they think, oh, these guys are barbarians.
Oh
They're
yeah.
just slaughtering fish, and they don't realize all the good that can come of it,
Oh yeah.
and for how good it is for our fisheries, and just great people. And what I
Hmm.
like about it is, like you said, we're like a family, like brothers. Everybody is there for each other, but we also give each other a real hard time and like to
Oh yeah.
have fun. That's
Oh yeah.
there's not a lot of snootiness like you get in some other areas. Where everybody tries
Yeah.
to be higher than each other. We all just pick on each other, man. It's all
Oh
good.
yeah.
Good time.
Oh yeah. It's There, you know, when I first got into like tournaments and stuff like that, the snooty that rang a bell to me because there's a couple of people that I thought they were just snooty. You know, they're better than everybody else, and then I got to think about it, and the more I shot against them, the more I understood that they were just that was just them. You know, more than anything, and I hope other kids realize that when they go into shoots and stuff like that. Um, you know, take things with a grain of salt, and it's a whole different ball game from being in a competitive nature, and then the next day you're buddy friends again. When the day before you weren't telling your buddy anything at all. Um, so it's just a great community overall.
Yeah, especially, it's understandable because these guys go to these tournaments and they're scouting for weeks and spending a ton of money. And you
Oh
don't
yeah,
realize by the time you get to tournament day, you're just
yeah,
completely exhausted.
yep,
You're just ready to go,
yep,
you can maybe somebody can come off as a jerk, but it's competition. That's just
yeah.
that's what we're there for. We have a good time, but at the end of the day, they put in a ton of money and a ton of work, and they
Yeah,
want.
they take it serious, that's for sure. I
Yeah,
heard one team from Worlds had a $8,000 fuel bill.
I can't
So I
afford
mean, it's just
that.
what it is. But when you love it to that level, I mean, and if you want to be on top, it's a serious amount of time, uh, and you have to know what everyone else is seeing, what everyone else is scouting. You want to know exactly what fish they're looking at, what fish you get to look at, and hopefully you shoot better than the other guy. At the end of the day, I mean, the world's competition the past 2 seasons, um, or well, I should say 2019, 2020 was a year of COVID, so nothing really happened. Then 21 here, um, you know, those 2 years in particular were very, very competitive, especially on the number side of it. And it's gone back and forth. Now the Hall of Famers, Josh York, and I'm gonna forget his name. Um, the other one, I can't remember his name. I'm really sorry, but
I'm sure he'll
it's
give you
been
a
a
hard
long,
time about
it's been a long week. It's only Tuesday. But I do remember Josh. Those guys are great, and they're Hall of Famers. They've won titles before. So it was actually nice to see. I didn't know they were actually coming up to this Worlds. They're from down south, Arkansas, I believe, and they came back and they took another title. And everyone, I talked to a couple of the teams, and they're like, I don't know how they did it. You know, they were just kind of like a piece of them was missing. Like, how did they do it? I was
Yeah,
here all week. I scouted all week. I had all these holes,
yeah,
and they still beat us. I don't get it. You know, but um, when you have a team that's been around that long, and those guys love bow fishing as much as they know exactly what they're doing, and they definitely proved a point. I think they shot 501 fish, or it's something very close to that. It was over 500. Um, and to do that with the type of competition, JJ Hayes and his team, uh, those are title champions. Alan Yetter's team, that was bad company. I mean, some of those guys have titles. It's unreal the amount of people that have world championships that were in this competition up in South Dakota. So to win that one overall, it's very impressive, very impressive.
well, that's one of the things that drew me to bow fishing was when I discovered, I used to fight MMA professionally. When I retired from that, I
Mm-hmm.
needed something, and then my first bow
Yeah.
fishing tournament, we had a boat. It was half falling down. You know how everybody
Oh
starts,
yeah.
and
Oh
we didn't.
yeah.
Even, I don't even think we shot a single fish. Our generator didn't work. And it was just after that I was like, I came back and seen the piles of fish, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yes.
I want to be
Yep.
able to do that. And I'm
Yep.
still a little tiny baby in this game, but we're working our way up. But
Yep.
and it's just, I mean, people, it's so much fun, and that's why all the effort y'all guys put in to put on these tournaments, get young people involved. It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I know there's been a lot of local tournaments. There's the attendance has been down. I don't know what from COVID or what have you. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's good that y'all guys can put on this big tournament, have that many people showing up, and having that good of a turnout and shooting all those fish.
Yeah. So back in 2019, I had the crazy idea to host Worlds because a whole bunch of people wanted it up north again, and I was crazy enough to do it. Um, and we set a record that year of the 104 boats. We had 108 registered, and then 4 dropped out because of car problems and stuff like that on the day. But that set a 29-year record. I brought vendors in. It did a whole lot of social media presence with it to generate interest. And my whole focus was to get the BA World Championship back on top, and try to get it to elite level again and make people care about it. Especially with the legislation stuff that I talked about earlier going on, it's important that we support the BAA and bringing all of us together, on this one special day to see who's the world champion. This thing's been going on for 30 years. We just had the 30th shoot this last weekend, and keep that history alive and keep it going. So, but hopefully it continues, and these guys did 152 boats, I think. With vendors. I mean, they just kept going up the bar. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what next year brings. I don't think there'll be as many boats. You never know, though. I mean, it depends on how much work goes into it, who gets to partner up with one another and see what these sponsors will do. See if they're going to continue to support the BAA and the World Championship. I mean, it was unbelievable the amount of people. There must have been 450 people there. Solid bow fishermen from all over the country, from Florida, California, literally California. Wisconsin, Michigan, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, all of them. Connecticut. Corey Brossman from Interlock was there. Matthew Schillinger with AMS Bowfishing was there. Chuck Belmore. He was there from the Habit TV. There's just so many names across the board, and so many good people that you see on Facebook and social media and that you follow, and then you get to meet them in person. You almost feel starstruck, but it's kind of a nice thing to have everyone get together and be able to share this, this type of experience, and support the BAA all at the same time. We got record-breaking numbers this year too for BAA membership. We're over 500 paying members, and I think we're over 7,000 strong with the free membership. So it doesn't cost anything if people want to just sign up and they want to, kind of get in the door and see what it's about. Get the newsletter that we send out I think it's every 6 months we send out a newsletter, unless we get an itch to show people something else or get some more information together. Then we'll obviously send out more newsletters. But that's a great way to get involved, get into it, and then see if you want to be see if we're doing what our jobs. You're going to want to sign up to be that paying member, and be more active. Try to, maybe even start shoots in your own neighborhood, or little kids events or veteran shoots. Any way to be active in the bowfish community and to shed a positive light for bow fishing throughout the nation is going to be crucial coming up throughout the next several years. There's some people out of Oklahoma. There's a biologist actually that wants to. I don't know what his whole thing is with bow fishing, but it's a dangerous thing without having any research behind his actual thing, behind his actual thinking. So yeah, he put together a 48-page article for the Oklahoma deal that I had to write the letter about, and it was just basically kind of a slam bang job at trying to make bow fishing look bad. And although sometimes guys will post pictures of hundreds or thousands of fish, at the end of the day, they're not doing anything illegal. Most times, a lot of these fish are being used one way or another. If people have pets such as cats and dogs, a lot of times these tournaments actually those fish go directly into cat food and dog food factories to feed their cats and dogs. Without that, and the fact that commercial fishing for invasives. There's not as many fishermen doing it as anymore. Uh, those type of companies, cat food, dog food companies, you think, you really like your pet, you
Yeah.
might want to think about helping bow fishermen.
Right.
Just let them have their invasives. Don't take away the fish that they're trying to shoot, because one way or another it comes full circle. You
Hmm.
know, even way back when this country started, we didn't have green pellet Miracle Grow fertilizer. Uh, that we could buy at the local Wally World. They were sticking rough fish in the ground, for fertilizer, to generate food. That's what I was able to do here to a local farmer. He actually added 2 pounds. He actually, how do I put this? He put an additional $2 a pound worth of profit to his compost pile by the fish that he took and that we were able to give him from my local tournaments here. So, and that was just in a year time. The nutrients levels changed that much where his compost was worth that much more. So there's tons of that stuff going on. So my message to a lot of bow fishermen is try to find a farmer. They're especially with the prices of everything going up nowadays. Even if it's 10, 20 fish, and that farmer can process it into to helping them. That's less fertilizer that they got to put in their ground. So, but it's just a little stuff like that, and it all adds up if enough people do it. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's great advice. And like me,
Mhm.
I live on the border of Oklahoma, so most of the area I fish is
Yeah,
in Oklahoma. So that was, a big concern of mine whenever that guy was doing all that. And it's all
he's
semantics.
still doing it.
Oh, I know, I know.
Oh, he ain't going away.
It's all
So
semantics, like in my home lake, right, Lake Texoma, it's a big striper fishery. They estimate that there's every 6 months they pull over 500,000 striper out of there, and it doesn't hurt the striper population whatsoever. They're still on the up. And now, granted, not all fish are striper, but if you've been to this lake, there's a billion buffalo, and nobody's shooting 500,000 of any fish out of this lake in 6 months. You
yeah,
know, it's all semantics. Even if we don't eat it,
hmm
as far as a biologist standpoint, it
yeah,
doesn't, whether you eat it or not, doesn't matter on the population of fish,
right, right.
because
And
it's
if
still
there
the
if
same.
there if it comes down to it, where a species, let's say buffalo, if there's research and science behind it saying, hey, this population cannot reproduce as fast as we're taking them out, then of course bow fishermen they're gonna want to do something about it to protect them.
Absolutely.
Because we love buffalo.
Yeah.
We want to continue to be able to take them, and if we shoot them all, there ain't gonna be none left, and well, then we can't. So
Right.
that's where our conservation part of us comes in, and knows that we have a responsibility. I mean, this country's kind of been historic for decimating populations almost to extinction, and then bringing it back through conservation. And bow fishing is no different. We take out what we know we can, and we follow our regulations and laws to a T, to make sure that we can still enjoy it. Every once in a while we have that fish dumper that we just can't help.
Yeah.
The bad apple in every bunch, so to speak. It's like that one bass guy or the two bass guys that go 80 mile an hour right by you while you're fishing for walleyes. Um, 15 feet away.
Right.
I'm not gonna look at those two bass guys, in their sparkly boats, you know, as the whole bass population, the whole bass fisherman population. Where I hope that we can, show people that those people that are dumping fish like that, that's not the whole bow fishing community. And if they only knew how bad people get razzed and
Mhm.
kind of shunned from the bow fishing industry,
Absolutely.
for dumping fish anywhere, uh,
Hmm.
they'd probably be very happy to know what we want to do to those guys, because it's an embarrassment, and it's not respectful, and for the 99 other percent of us, we don't do it.
Right.
It's not needed, and we follow all the laws. So, but yeah, so if anybody gets out there, and it's youth that are watching this, find somebody to dump your fish before you go fishing.
Mhm.
That's all there is to it.
That's
So
part of the sport. That's something that if you want to go,
exactly.
you gotta
Yep.
have you gotta have some way to follow your laws, your regulations. know how to
Yep.
properly dispose of your fish. And like you said, there's always somebody that will take them. Back when I used to bank fish,
Oh yeah.
I'd shoot gar or whatever. And there's always somebody on the
Yep.
bank like, hey, I want some catfish bait, or hey, I want to eat that.
Oh
I
yeah.
go to them. They try to give me money. I'm like, no, I don't want your money. Just take it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but there's always stuff like that. Everybody needs to do the research. And like I said, don't dump fish because we will roast you online.
Oh
That's
yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
boat fishing community
Oh,
will do that.
your
So
name will forever be known to the
mhm,
whole bow fishing community. If you're dumping fish and you get caught doing it,
yeah,
it's not good, man. It's a lot easier just to find somebody to dump, a farmer or somebody, some way to process those fish, or dig a hole in your backyard, and bury them and make your own damn garden. Excuse
yeah,
my French,
exactly.
uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's there's plenty of ways to go around dumping fish. That's for sure.
that's for sure. All right. So guys, we're about out of time today, but I am going to throw a link in the description here to get on the Bowfishing Association of America website. Sign up for that premium membership because if you like bow fishing, if you don't, if these guys aren't around, you might not be able to do it one day. So you might not be able to take your kids out.
Yeah.
These people are fighting actively to take this away from us. So get on there, stay informed, stay together, and we can keep the sport going. And like John has said, we are if there's we don't want new rules to be passed without any sort of evidence, any sort of research, any sort of anything, just based off of feelings. That's not how America works. That's not how it's ever supposed to work. We face things off of facts and research, and and I know a lot of the bowfishing community has done a ton to help out biologists when studying some of these fish, like the silver carp and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
which has been very important because a lot of these fish are extremely detrimental to where they're at and
Yeah.
dangerous. People have died from silver carp
Oh
and
yeah.
things like that, but that's another topic for another day there. But I appreciate your time, John.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to say before we go?
Not a whole lot. Just I guess the biggest thing is get active. You know, don't be afraid in the bow fishing community to speak up and ask for help if you need help with anything regarding bow fishing. Because you don't have to be scared about it because the everyone is so willing to help, and you'll get razzed. It's a very smart aleck type of group of people, especially online.
Yeah,
But take that with a grain of salt and read the information on the question you asked, and most likely you're going to get help in one way or another. Um, and just stay positive and introduce as many new people to the sport as you can and show them the right way to do things and show them how to be respectful around houses, um, and just know where you're at and make sure that we're not shining lights in houses and causing problems with house owners.
right.
We deal with that quite a bit too. So
Mhm.
just got to spread that word and get that out there too. So, but I really appreciate this, taking your time to do this, and I could ramble all night long about bow fishing.
Oh yeah,
So
we'll get you on again another time. That's no
it sounds
problem.
good.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, man. Have a good one.